Hi, Morgan. Welcome to the Financial Fortune Teller podcast.
Hi,
Great to have
Sam.
you here.
Thank you.
So, we're going to be discussing income protection.
Interesting topic.
Yeah, very interesting
Yeah.
to just inform our audience what it is.
Yeah.
So, could you let them know what is income protection?
Income protection basically does what it says on the tin. It gives you a benefit, it secures your income. This can be monthly, and it just ensures your lifestyle doesn't need to change if you were out of work due to accident, injury, sickness.
Great. So, you should have it to protect your income in case you get sick
Yeah.
or have an accident or your
Yeah.
doctor signs you off work, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. And how long would it cover you for?
Well, it can vary. You can usually have it for a full-term plan. This can be up to your retirement age, or if you're on a little bit of a budget, or you just want to see how things go, you can do this for a 2 or a 5-year plan. But it all depends on your personal circumstances.
Amazing. And how much cover could I get?
Usually, the industry standard is around 60% of your monthly salary.
Is that gross?
That is gross.
Oh, amazing.
So
Amazing.
they take away the tax element of that, so it's 60% of what you earn.
Amazing. And how do I get the cover?
Well, that's what we're here for. So you can come to us at Fortune Financial and tell us your circumstances. We can do that work for you. We can figure out what your needs are, what kind of cover you need, the best provider that suits you to work for you, put the puzzle together.
Brilliant. And when is the best time to get the cover?
Well, ideally, you can't go back in time. The best time would be as soon as you turn 18, but the best time would be now, as you can't do that. It's best to do it while you're young. But if that can't happen and you can't get a time machine, it's best to just do it while you can and you've got your health.
So basically, as soon as you're employed,
Yeah, as soon
get
as
it
you're
as
employed.
fast as you can so
Yeah,
that everything's covered and you've got no financial worries if you become sick.
exactly.
Amazing. Amazing. And why should people come to us for income protection? What
I
makes
would
us stand out?
I would say that we are good at tailoring our advice to people and their individual circumstances. I would say that we are very adaptable people. We can figure out what kind of need each individual person wants. We have a wide range of providers that we work alongside with. So I would say we're very adaptable in that sense. Yeah.
Brilliant. So, like a tailored, bespoke
Yeah. Very bespoke advice. Yeah.
recommendation. Amazing. Okay.
Cool. So I have some questions for you.
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
What does income protection cost? How much does it cost for someone?
Well, it entirely depends on how much you earn.
Mm.
So you figure out what you need to pay your monthly bills and maintain your lifestyle.
Yeah.
You might not need the full 60% of your gross salary. And you might only need 1,500 a month to survive.
Yeah.
So it's all tailored to the amount of cover that you want to get.
That makes sense.
So it's all very bespoke.
Yeah, that
So
makes a lot of sense.
That's why we always invite people in
Yeah.
to come and talk about it and see what their circumstances require, basically.
Nice one. So when does a plan pay out typically?
From the minute you're signed off. So you would either have a deferred period of 4 weeks, and that would start paying out immediately, or if you've got 3 months sick pay, 6 months sick pay, up to a
Wow.
year, 2 years sick pay.
Wow, that is good.
So you can defer it, and then it'll kick in from there.
Wow, okay. And who is income protection for, really?
Well, for anybody who's basically working and has responsibilities and bills. I mean, you insure your phones, your pets,
Yeah.
you insure your home, your car, but you don't insure yourself. So how do you maintain all those other things
Yeah.
if you haven't got the income coming in and
This is true.
you're relying on statutory sick pay? It's just not going to work.
Yeah, no, this is true. So in response to that, what is the alternative to having income protection? What other things are out there?
Well, there's all kinds of other products, critical illness cover, but then you have to meet certain criteria.
Mhm.
You have to be diagnosed with certain illnesses.
Yeah.
But they pay out a lump sum, whereas income protection pays out monthly and it's ongoing
Yeah. Okay.
until you either go back to work
Mhm.
or you retire.
Yeah. That makes sense. So the other alternative, we have savings, but what's the negative to using our savings or using the statutory sick pay?
Well, the thing with using your savings, you don't want to tap into your savings. It's taking you how long to save that money up? You
Yeah.
know, why would you want to use that when you could use that for a holiday, house, anything else, and you've covered your income, so you're still carrying on paying your bills, and you've still managed to protect your savings as well as everything else.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense.
Yeah. And statutory sick pay, what's the negative with that?
Well, I mean, £116 a week. Are you going to be able to pay all your bills and maintain your lifestyle at £116 a week? That's the
Probably
question you've
not.
got to ask yourself.
Yeah. In these circumstances and the cost of living, it's probably a no for most people in the UK.
100%, 100%. And half the population statistically have less than £1,000 worth of savings in their bank account.
Wow, that is
So
a
it's
lot.
not going to go far.
That is a lot. So, what would happen if you have medical complications in terms of, somebody has cancer or they've previously had a stroke? What would that look like if they're trying to obtain income protection?
Well, obviously, once you apply for the product, it will go to underwriting, and
Okay.
any medical disclosures you have, you would need to disclose them in the application process. Whether you're a smoker or non-smoker will affect it. Historical medical disclosures. They go through everything with you. And, if there's an existing condition, there will be an exclusion possibly.
Oh, okay, wow.
So it's a very thorough process.
Yeah.
So you know that when it does come to claim, it will pay out.
Yeah.
Because we make sure that everything is documented and sorted out.
Yeah. That's
so
really,
you know
really good.
exactly what cover you've got
Yeah.
and what will pay out.
That's really good. And I would also ask, do the premiums increase each year?
No, that you can have them increasing with the retail price index.
Yeah.
But obviously then the cover increases as well, and that will offset inflation and cost of living situations and things like that.
So you kind of
you,
know
you
what
can
you're...
have just level premiums.
Yeah, so you know what you're sort of getting yourself in for every month, I suppose.
Exactly. And if your income changes or your job changes, it's a case of getting hold of the provider and just supplying with that information, and then everything will adjust accordingly.
That's really good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Morgan, in your experience, could you give me an example of one of your clients or cases where income protection has really been like a successful product for somebody to have?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that really springs to mind, I'm dealing with a client at the minute. She had a cancer diagnosis in 2023.
Oh, that's awful.
So obviously it's a very particular and difficult time, and obviously we want to make sure that we have the best cover for her that suits her needs. And obviously with this particular diagnosis, we have to look at certain providers that will either exclude this or require certain GP reports or nurse screenings. So in the background for her, I've made sure that I've done the work with the underwriting with particular providers to make sure they cover certain elements based on what her treatment has been, what her diagnosis was specifically. So once the underwriting was done before the application, we kind of knew where you stood with these providers. We knew sort of how much the premium would be, what her cover would be, even deferred period. All this stuff was done in the background before we even did the application. So we kind of knew the extent of what she was getting herself in for with the provider. So it just made it flow a lot nicer. It didn't disturb it didn't disturb her life in terms of asking for GP reports or anything like that. We did it all in the background before the application. So once the application was filled out, it just flowed really nicely.
Perfect. So that was just using pre-sales underwriting, making the process as simple as possible for her.
I wanted to make sure that obviously in a difficult time in her life that I worked around her needs and what she wanted, and it just makes somebody's life so much easier. And as I said earlier, it pieces that puzzle together.
Exactly. Yeah. And also, if she does get an exclusion, which is fair enough for her diagnosis, at least she will have cover. God forbid she breaks her leg and needs to take time off work or something like that. Yeah. So you still have that cover in place for anything else.
I think I would always bring it back to some cover is better than no cover in particular difficult circumstances. And there's a saying that I sometimes like to mention to my clients: when you can have it, you don't want it.
Yeah.
When you need it, you can't have it.
Yeah. Exactly. And I'm finding like the younger generation, people in their 20s
Yeah.
to 30s, don't know what income protection is, or they're not too sure
Yeah.
what it does.
No, I would agree. I think, speaking from somebody that's in their 20s, it's a very difficult thing to mention to people. I think there's that stigma and that idea of, I'm young, it won't happen to
Yeah,
me.
it's insurance. Yeah.
Yeah, the likelihood of me falling down the stairs and breaking my leg might not happen, or my work gives me good cover to cover my bills for that month. But if you were out of work for the 3 months after your work covers you, how else would you pay for that lifestyle? How would you survive? How would you pay for those bills? And again, I think the younger generation, speaking from somebody that is in that generation, they don't know what it is, and we don't see the importance of it. And I think that's why it's important to educate people of all ages to see how important this kind of cover is. I mean, I listened to something the other day where a lot of people in the UK would put income protection as the last resort, as a low priority. However, within our industry, it's the most claimed upon compared to life cover.
And the claim rate payouts are really, really good
and really successful as well.
Really successful. I think it's a brilliant product.
And it does what it says on the tin.
Exactly. And I just wish more people knew about it and had a better understanding of it, because even my clients, some of my clients in their 40s, 50s, now they know what it is. Now they want it. The premiums are higher. The risk is higher. Because you're older and you've got more diagnoses and things under your belt. So it makes it a bit trickier the older you are. So I'm all for the younger you are, the better to get this product in place.
Of course. And I would say, so in your situation of potentially having clients that are that little bit older, how would you work around, it must be a difficult conversation if they have had previous medical disclosures, or if they have smoked in the past, and how do you sort of work around that situation to so they know what they're getting themselves in for?
Well, exactly what you do, pre-sales underwriting all the way, figure out what we're in for, what will be excluded, if things will be covered, if you are in existing medication. A lot of providers will cover existing illnesses as long as you haven't had any further diagnoses or had any surgeries, etc., if it's not under investigation. So it's always good to do the pre-sales underwriting,
of course,
see where everybody stands, see what it's going to cost. And that's how we get around it.
And I think it's also nice to have the relationship that we do with our clients. We always keep in contact with them and letting them know the stage we're at, and we have that sort of close relationship where they know that they can trust us to do our job and do what's best for them.
Absolutely, and take care of them.
And
make sure we take care of them financially. And then we also go through the claims process with them.
Of course.
And we take care of their claims. So I'm excited to get the information out there for people about this product, because you just don't hear about it, especially in our local area.
It's not known, and it's not one of those things that people would automatically think of when they think of a protection product. You think of life cover, you think of critical illness, you think of even phone insurance, you think of those things, but this is one of those products that isn't talked about. And I think it is so important to educate people so they know what it is, because again, you always think, it's fine, I've got my savings, or I've got the government that I can fall back on, or even the younger generation might have the bank of mum and dad, but others aren't that fortunate in this day and age. And
well, if you've got the bank of mum and dad, let's hope mum and dad have income protection, because if anything happens to them, then it all falls down. And also the self-employed. I mean
that's a big one.
There's statutory sick pay, and that's it. I mean, your plumbers, your electricians, your hairdressers, your beauticians, your builders, your roofers, young, old, it doesn't matter. I mean, protect your income.
Regardless if you have an employer or you're self-employed, is what the message is. I think if you're working and you're earning an income every month, it's so important to protect it, regardless if you have 3 months of income to fall back on with your employer or you have none. I think it's just important to have it there. It's almost a safety net to know that, okay, if I was to walk down the stairs and I was to break my ankle, I'm going to be okay.
100%. Well, an example of one of my clients, she's diagnosed with long COVID, and her income protection has been paying out for 18 months.
Wow. So
And
it just goes to
it's
show.
ongoing because, you know, she keeps getting signed off. She has many adverse complications from the condition, which is horrendous. But at least she has peace of mind. She can pay her bills every month. She can maintain her lifestyle and still enjoy herself without having that massive financial burden.
And that's what it is. I think, you know, when we talk to our clients, and we've had this conversation before, you ask them that question, okay, well, if you was to become ill, injured, whatever, how would you pay your bills? Most of the time, they're sort of in shock because they think, hang on a minute, I don't actually know. It's something I've never thought of. And it's true. You know, before you enter into this industry as well, you still don't think, how will this happen? You don't realize it until you're in that moment and you think, hang on a minute, how would I pay my bills? How would I keep my lifestyle so it doesn't get disrupted? And I think, again, there is a financial burden sometimes. And, you know, you protect yourself, you protect your phone, your car. Why not do it all? Why not do it all?
Well, in my case, I've got 2 teenage children. They cost me an absolute fortune. Absolute fortune. So if I lost my income, and I'm a single parent, so if I lost my income, my monthly income, wow, things would be tough.
I can imagine.
Things would be really, really tough. Especially on them as young teenagers, you know, everything would just fall apart. It would be horrendous.
So it's so important to have. And regardless if you're somebody that's in your 20s or you're a single parent with 2 teenagers or you're a self-employed builder that's in their 40s and that's a smoker, I think regardless of your situation or your circumstance, having that income protection just to fall back on is so important, because you just don't know what's around the corner, unfortunately.
You don't. And you hear horror stories every day. Everybody thinks they're invincible. I've got a client who's a critical care nurse, and she is all over income protection. She is my biggest advocate for it because she sees some horrendous things on a daily basis. Young, old, doesn't matter. And she thinks it is one of the best products on the market to protect your income. So,
and it's funny because before I joined Fortune Financial, I worked for a company that did life insurance policies and those kind of protection policies, and seeing it from that side and seeing how many people do claim
massive
on
amount.
A situation of, you know, I've broken my foot or I can't work because, you know, something, it's just, you don't realize the importance of it until you're in that moment. And it's just something that I can't even advocate enough. You know, it's such a great product. I don't think
you're
people
almost thinking
realize
like,
it.
wow, wouldn't you have that?
Yes, 100%. Why wouldn't you? You know, yes, there is sometimes the people that think, okay, well, I've got my savings, or why it costs me too much money a month. Yes, there is those situations, but while we're here, as we said earlier, what we do for you is we look at finances, budgeting, we work around you, so we find the right
tailor
product.
It, can't
of
you?
course, we
you
find the right product for people.
The full package, or there are budget packages, things like that. So you'd rather have something than nothing.
Exactly.
It's better than £116 a week.
Exactly. Yeah. So you mentioned the budget cover or the full term. Could you just tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes, of course. So full term would be a plan that carries you all the way through to retirement, to say age 68, state retirement age, which is obviously higher premium because it's going to go all the way through. But for somebody who doesn't have enough budget, what we can offer is a 2-year, a 1-year, 2-year, or 5-year plan, which means the policy will pay out, say, on a 2-year. It'll pay out for 2 years at a time.
Okay.
So you'll be covered for 2 years, go back to work for, say, 6 months, and then you can claim again for another 2 years, same condition or different condition. And that's how it works in a nutshell. And it's a lot more cost effective for people who can't insure themselves for the full term.
Of course. So both the budget and the full term, do they both go to retirement? However, the budget term is at a 2-year, 5-year.
Absolutely.
So of course,
so it's go to retirement, but you can only claim every 2 years.
Okay, that makes sense.
Claim for 2 years at a time.
Of course, that makes sense. So obviously, if you are on a budget, or, you know, looking at the full term thing isn't quite right for you at the minute, you can look at it once that term has come. But it's, as we said, it's better to have some cover than none.
Than nothing, exactly. So at least you would get that income for 2 years if
Yeah.
you needed it.
Definitely makes sense. So, in summary, income protection ensures that your lifestyle doesn't need to change should you be out of work for accident, injury, sickness, anything of the sort. You know, it
Absolutely.
just makes sure that you're covered, you're protected, it's a safety net.
Yeah, 100%. And then you can just get better and get well.
You can focus on it without the burden of 100%. Thinking, how am I going to pay my bills?
No financial stress.
It's definitely something that I'm a big advocate for, and I know you are as well.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Definitely. Well, it's been great chatting to you.
Yeah, same time next week.
Yeah, let's see what we're going to bring to you next week.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, leave them in the comments.
Yes, and subscribe and like and share, of course.